Good afternoon. How is everybody doing today? Give everybody a minute to hop on. Just check the lighting here. Sometimes I never know whether the blinds are open enough or too much. I'm going to try that so that there's no reflection. I think that's okay. Hello, Irene. Hi, Julie. Hi, Victoria. How's everybody doing? I just finished my lunch. Hi, Monica. Oh, it was beautiful, sunny out today. Hello, Linda. Hi, Carrie. Thank you. Yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out. You know, sometimes you start making something and you're not sure where it's going. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the words, and I kind of left it. Hello, Wendy. And came back to it and thought, oh, that's what I want to do. So yeah, nice when things work out. And I really love this embossing folder. It's a 3D one, the Doily one from Tim Holtz. I think there's a couple new Doily ones. The lace background, isn't it amazing? Like, it literally looks like there is a piece of lace on that card. Like, I'm really impressed with that. And I think, so this was from the last Sizzix release, I believe. And I know there's a couple in the shop. There might be another embossing folder as well, but yeah, I was really pleased with how that turned out. Hello, Leanne. And then these have finally come in. They were on order for a while, and I think they were really popular. Thanks, Carrie. Yeah, we're gonna do some brayering of our ink pad onto embossing folders. So you could use that with any embossing folder, that technique. So it'll be fun. This finally came into the shop, and it's been very popular. So that's what we're using to put on the outside. Hello, Lorraine. And then these letters, I've been enjoying these letters. So I took them off and put them on a magnet sheet so I could put them all in order. And there's actually a few letters that have a couple different styles, which I thought was neat. And I'm going to show you some other new Spellbinders that have come out, but this is the card we're going to make today. I've got some of these Spellbinders gems. I think I need to order more of these. I really like them. You know how when you first get something and you're not sure how much you'll use them? And I especially like that they have the different sizes, and you can see I used a lot of the small ones. So there's a few different colors available. And those are the letters. And then, of course, we're going to look at the Distress ink, Distress sprays and ink pads. And I did some swatches. So I may as well show you those first. So this is the new Saltwater Taffy that just came out. Hello, Marilyn. And let me just sit down here. So this is it's almost like a really light coral. It's very pretty color. Hello, Penny. Hello from Red Deer. That's not too far from here. Yeah, I'm really loving this color. I did some swatches out, and I think that when you do get a new color, go ahead and swatch it, because even if you're not going to do anything with these, I mean, you could have a like a book with some pockets or something that you, or you could glue these in, and that's a great way to know what colors. But even if you aren't going to do anything with it, it's a great way to figure out how your products work and what you might use them for. Hello, Tamara. And just get used to them. So these are the ones that I did today. Now the glaze is sold out right now, but I'm sure that Sandy will get that back in. And so there should be a little box that you can check to put your email in when it has been restocked. If not, if you don't see that there, you can let one of us know, or you can email Sandy and just ask her to grab one for you when she gets them in. So that's Sandy at scrapshotz.com. This is the glaze, really pretty. We have a few new glazes too that I'll show you, but this is the saltwater taffy. So again, that's sold out right at the moment, but should be back in, I'm assuming, as soon as we get some more stock. So there's the Distress ink and the Distress oxide pad. So the Distress ink is a water-based dye ink, and then the oxide is more of a chalky finish that's kind of a lighter color. It will cover each other. It's more of an opaque, whereas the ink is more of a translucent. So probably most people understand between the difference between the inks and the oxides, but this kind of gives you an idea. And welcome to everybody who's popped in. I don't see everybody's name, but Diane and Peggy. So this is the oxide, and I really like stamping with oxides. And this is the ink. So inks I like more for blending. You can see that the oxide was a much crisper stamped image. Hello, Betty. And I mean, you can still stamp with the ink, but you can see that you can see the details more if you stamp with the oxide. So I do like oxides for stamping and blending, but I still like to have the inks, and they're great for blending. I really love blending with inks. I love the look of them. Hello from Alberta. I'm in Calgary, Peggy, and I think a lot of people here are actually from Alberta. Oh, I'm glad that you did catch me live, Betty. It's always so nice. Even I just always pop in and see your comment, even if you catch me on the replay. And this was really fun. So we might do a little test on this. So again, this is, you would have thought the results would be the opposite. Yeah, Diane. I think sometimes, you know how dye inks maybe bead up a little bit on the stamp because they are water-based, and I think maybe that's why. And the oxide just seems to stick to it a little bit better. So this is the ink spray, and this is the oxide spray. And I really like, and maybe we'll do this so you can really get an idea, but they look very different when you're looking at these two effects. So this more of a soft, chalkier finish. If we were to put another color over top, the color would layer if it was an oxide. You can mix the oxides and the inks as well. And this was a piece of watercolor paper, and I sprayed it with the oxide and the ink on each one. And then I let it dry a little bit, and then I put some of the spray on my mat and some water and dipped it in, and then I sprayed some water after that and just blotted it with a paper towel. And I really love, and I was surprised to see this color that kind of came out after you blotted it on the ink spray. And of course you get like the lovely oxide finish on the oxides, but I was really liking how this turned out with the spray. So just really cool. And of course, they both react with water. I usually just get the oxides, but I decided to go with the spray stain, and I was really happy that I did. And then we've got the ink and the oxide, and looking at it like this, it's really hard to tell the difference. Thanks, Carrie. But when you're doing it and when you have a finished piece, you can tell the difference. Again, these are the pads. So this would be the ink, and it's more of that translucent, clear, not clear, but translucent effect where you can see through it. We have the white in the background, so you can't really tell. If you were to do this on dark cardstock, the oxide would show up, but not the ink. And this is more of a softer, chalkier finish. They're both beautiful, and that's just stenciled on. So I think it depends what you are looking for. You never know what to buy. Yeah. I think if I was just buying one pad, Betty, I would go with an oxide just because I know I'm going to be able to stamp with it. I'm still going to be able to sponge beautifully, and I will still be able to do lots of blending, and you won't get the exact look of this, but you can still do like the smushing on the background and dipping it in. So if you could only buy one, or if I could only buy one, that's probably what I would do, is buy the oxide. And then and if you wanted like to buy the oxide and then wanted one spray, well, you could buy the spray stain because it's the water-based spray that kind of you can watercolor with. So you have two different things in two different applicators. So then there is the ink and the oxide refills. Those are available in the store if you're looking for them. And there's also the paint that's available. And these are always fun. And what I need to do is make a little banner and put all my little buttons on them. But I think these enamel pins are really cute. No problem, Betty. All right, so let's pull that over. And maybe while we have all this stuff out, let's do a really quick look at these sprays just so you can see the fun things that you can do. And we're going to use the oxide ink when we do the brayering. So let me just move this out of the way, just to give you a quick idea about doing some backgrounds. So I just have a little shoebox here. If I want to do some spraying, you can just spray on your mat. Oh, Margaret, Erica, and Joanne. The lemon dye is amazing, hey? So this is a piece of watercolor paper, just because we're going to be spraying it and adding water and liquid to it. I really love that lemon, and I'm going to show you some samples as well. So when you have the oxide, you need to mix it up because it separates. It has different ingredients in it. So then you want to give this a spray, and you can do this lots of different ways. What I'm doing is just spraying it first on the background. Okay, and then let's do our stain. So the stain is completely liquid, and these are beautiful for watercoloring if you want to watercolor. And this is our spray stain. So you can see that this is much more translucent. And then you get that chalkier look on there. Hello, Wanda. So then we can take these off. And you certainly can, if you have spray stains and you have oxides, you can certainly mix them. And you don't have to do it this way. This is just the way I'm doing it today. So I'm going to spray some of the oxide on the background. And then if you have a cup of water, you can just dip the top in some water to make sure you don't have any stain, but at least wipe it off. And then I'm going to add a little bit. Hello, Rhonda. A little bit of water to that, and we can dry a little bit in between, and that just gives us some layers. So this is just oxide sprayed on right now. And then I'm going to start dipping it in, and we're going to start getting some fun layers. So if you want to just do some easy backgrounds, this is a great way to do it. And you can start mixing your colors. And you can see too, like once you start adding the water into it, you really get that oxidized look. I'm not completely drying it, I'm just drying it a bit to add my layers. And this is a really easy cleanup as well. It's just water-based. So anything that you get it on, we'll just wipe with water. And this just is kind of a quick demo. You can use whatever colors you want and kind of follow that process. So then I'm going to just wipe this up. Hello, Mary. Okay, so that is our background without adding any water droplets. And then we can go ahead and add whatever water that you want to it. And I added quite a bit there. I'm not going to blot it all up, but when you blot, it's lifting some of that color. So then you're getting those really cool effects. You can just let it dry. If you want, so if you had a stencil that you wanted to lay over that, that's a really neat way to spray through your stencil and then lift up with water. We won't get a perfect, because I've already sprayed it, but and I don't know if we'll get that effect right now. Not really, just because of the way that I did it. But if you had your background either inked or sprayed and then lay your stencil on and spray over it with water and lift it up, then you will get that effect. So that's your oxide spray. And then here is our spray stain. So this is more of like a watercolor look that you're going to get with this. Really great for watercoloring. Okay, now let's add a little bit of this to our background. And again, you want to just give it a little bit of a wipe so that you don't get anything in the nozzle. Hello, Judy. And then we're just going to start doing the same thing. Add a little bit more water to that. These are just really fun to play with. And again, that's where that swatching comes in, because you can figure out what techniques you like. If you like to just start with your spray here instead of spraying the background, you could do that as well. And if you use watercolor paper or Vicki Beaton foundation paper, that's going to give you a little bit of a thicker paper that's going to work well. If you don't have any of that and you just want to use a thick cardstock, you can. You're going to get a little bit more warping, but just try what you have. Okay, and then you let it set for just a minute. It's going to kind of start. Here's a look again at this really cool background. And this is where really saw that really neat color, and that's going to keep kind of transforming as you leave it. So just two different effects, but both beautiful. All right, now let me show you the new stuff and then we will make our card. Okay. So the thank you die is now in the shop. Yeah, it is. It's fun just playing. You could just get lost playing. So this is beautiful. And the birthday one is similar. So this would be more of like the mini slimline, and then this would be your slimline card. And you can cut this. This one is cut with individual pieces, just laying kind of the cardstock over, or you could lay a full sheet of cardstock and cut, you know, like all these different colors, and then just mix and match, and you have, you know, 10 cards done or whatever. I didn't add them up. So, you know what I mean. Lorna, hello. So this is thank you, and you get the big thank word, and then the you, which goes over it, and you put on with individual letters, which I think is very cute, but it's really striking. Very beautiful. Nice and easy. You're just piecing it together. And the birthday one, same kind of thing. And you can put your happy wherever you want, and then the birthday is in the back. So those are both new in the store. Then we have these, which are Yana's layered script sentiments. So you've got the small sentiments, and then you've got the outline, and you have birthday. I'm going to try and read these. Happy, happy, no. I should have figured these out. Thankful, that's birthday. And what do you think this is? Am I looking at it the wrong way? I think it's happy. I think it's happy this way. And then you have the outline. So beautiful scripts. Oh yeah, look, it's right in the corner. Happy birthday, thanks. That's too funny. Thanks, Betty. So yeah, well, that gave my brain a workout today. And they are beautiful and scripty, and you can use them by themselves or you can layer them over that outline, which is very nice. And again, this one, the Lemon Zest, gorgeous. Last week we looked at a bunch of the embossing folders, and they are new in the shop as well, and they're 3D gorgeous. You could use the technique that we're going to do today with the brayering. This one here is Delicate Butterflies by BB Cameron, and these have been really popular. I've seen lots of projects with these. So you get the little inside for the butterfly, and then you get these really detailed butterfly bodies. And if I hold this up to, like, this is an A2 size, so you can see they're a good size, but they're not huge, but they're a very nice size. And then you have the outline as well. And then this stencil is absolutely gorgeous. So you've got the butterfly, it's a geometric butterfly. Hello, Erin. And then you've got these are great for kind of just adding little details to areas in your cards. These ones are circles. You've got these little stars, and then you've got the little squares. I think this one is a really great one. And here was the other side of that. So it looks like the butterfly you could actually cut out of the background of your paper. If you wanted like a sequin shaker type card, that would be really cool. So you don't have to use that outline if you don't want it. And then you've got your mini slimline. These are really great. So there's 12 in here. These smaller ones are always really good, I find, for sentiments, that you can have an exact size for your sentiments and then stamp them in the center. Or you can have layered cardstock. And then, of course, it's your mini slimline size, which is great to have. Then this one here is really cool. This is just in 49 a market, and it's called the Open Waterfall Set. They do have a YouTube video on their YouTube channel, and it shows you exactly how these go together. You got the lacy 3D embossing folder. Yes, good for you, Victoria. I don't think there was too many of those in the shop. It's definitely, if you like that kind of the look, it's well worth having. And you can create waterfalls. So you can put these in mini albums. You can use these in your scrapbook albums. Really cool effects. So basically you've got all the pieces there, and then the video shows you exactly how to piece them together, and then you just lift them up and you have, I would think that you could even use them for cards, and then they clasp together with the magnets, which are in there. So, and there's 3 of those. So those are quite neat. The other thing that we got in, we got 2 more things in that I have set to the side. So we looked at these glitter markers, and there's a few new ones that are in now, if you didn't see them. And we've got raspberry tart. Then there's lemon drizzle. These have a really nice glitter effect. Iced ivy and Venetian jade. So you can see you can actually write with them, and they are quite detailed. And what I like doing with them is watercoloring. So we are going to use them to actually color our words. And I think I forgot to show you these cards here before I forget. So this was another one with that Lemon Zest set and the Spellbinders embossing folder. And they made limes out of it, which I thought was very cute. And then this is another lemon one with the embossing folder that's actually flipped the other way. So you can use them either way and you get a different effect. And then you've got a slimline card with 2 of them on there, which was really nice, and more of those gems. It has the little flowers that come in the die set. And then this one here is the letters from that letter set that we're going to use today for the hello. So this one is the, it's called Be Bold. This is the lowercase, and there was an uppercase that was still available. And this is cute. They've just put the alphabet, and then these were cards that I did in a class from Spellbinders. So they had the class, and then they highlighted the H-I for high, which I thought was really cute. Yes, the happy birthday script is very nice. Okay, so back to our markers. So this is what these look like. I'm going to show you how easy they are to watercolor. And again, we have a video, it might have been last week or the week before, and we did a lot with the markers. So if you want to go back, but this gives you an idea of the color. So that's that raspberry tart, the iced ivy, and if you can, I don't know, can you see? Will we stock the Be Bold punctuation? Sandy, if you're still on there, can you let us know? And if she has popped off right now. I'll find out, Diane, and let you know. Venetian Jade and Lemon Drizzle. Lemon Drizzle is very nice. So that's an up close look at those glitter markers. They are very fun. And then we just have the new glazes. I don't have the candied apple here, but the candied apple is in as well. And we've got, I stamped and embossed these out. So if you're looking for some fine embossing powders that emboss really nicely, these are translucent, so you can see what's under them. You could stamp in a different color of ink and then emboss over it, and the glaze embossing powder will change color depending on the ink. I just used Versamark. But these are the new colors, and there is candied apples in the store right now. So this is the picked raspberry. So yes, they're really nice embossing powders, and there's different colors that are out. I'm not sure exactly what is in the store, but these are the newest ones that have been released. Then there's Wilted Violet, Twisted Citron. That's one of my favorite kind of spring colors. Hello, Carrie. Then there's Salty Ocean, which is beautiful, and Wild Honey, and then the red. So they are all very pretty. So I think that those are a very good purchase if you're looking to purchase some embossing powders. All right, so let's do our card. Move these out of the way. So we've got this embossing folder, and I have a brayer. I think this is the Tim Holtz one, but any brayer will work. This one is nice to pick up the ink. So what we're going to start with is we're going to, there's a bumpy side, so this one would be pushing into your paper, and then there's a flat side, and then the flatter side is what we're going to put the ink on. So because we want the ink to go in all the places except for where the raised detail is, if that makes sense. Hello, Sharon. I'm just gonna have a drink. Okay. So all I'm doing, this was really easy, actually easier than I thought. I'm just picking up some ink with my brayer, and I'm rolling it on. And because this is water-based, it just washes off. So you can either give it a spray, wipe it down, you can rinse it under water, and it's going to come completely, everything's going to come off it. You don't have to worry about something transferring. I would probably just rinse it under water, and then you're going to make sure that everything's off for the next time you use it. Or maybe put a scrap piece of paper in and just run it through just to make sure that you've got all the ink out of it, so that doesn't surprise you when you go to emboss next time. So this is all I'm doing, is just rolling it over, and I've got a nice coat. It is beautiful, isn't it? When I saw it, I just wanted it. I have one of my grandmother's crocheted doilies, and it totally just reminded me of that. So, all right, so I'm going to put in, this is just 110 or 120 pound cardstock, so a thicker cardstock. And I'm actually going, I don't know if this is going to work. I didn't want it to shift around, and it might not work. This might not work, but so depending on your machine, this is a really heavy duty 3D folder. So depending on your machine, you may have to kind of change your plates around just to make sure that you get you're able to get this through without it being too thick. So I just added a little bit there so it's not going to fly open and move around. And I'm just going to put it into my machine. So different companies have different thicknesses of folders, and that's fine. You just need to adjust your shims or plates. And I'm just running it through and then running it back so I can make sure that it's really pressed down nicely. And normally I wouldn't do this, but just because of my plate, and this is so detailed, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to move. Let's take that washi tape off. Good grief. This is very sticky washi tape, not great for taping things down. So look at the detail, and then you've got the ink in all the places except for the raised areas. So it really looks like there is a piece of lace on that. Yeah, you're gonna love it, Victoria. And then I'll just run that through, or just rinse it off after to make sure, but it's fine to stay there. With the ink that's on your brayer, this is one that I just ran through on a white piece of paper, but you can easily color your lace. So don't, see, just a cool effect, and then I can add some, blending if I wanted to. And I can just take an extra little piece of paper here. This is just a scrap. And I can just roll this on. There's still lots of ink on this, just so that I can have like some paper that's got a nice background, and I can do some die cutting then out of that if I wanted. Every color would be beautiful. And then you can just rinse off your brayer. And you don't have to use that on scrap, but sometimes I like to, or I'll just turn that into a tag or something, and then it's already covered. All right, so this is our background. And then I didn't want that to be kind of a stark white. I'm using some antique linen distress oxide. And I used to stack my pads on top of each other. So it's like all of my older ink pads have like the color that was beside it. I probably had brown on top of that. So normally the covers don't look like that. So you could leave it just white, but I kind of wanted a little bit of an off-white just because I was going for that antique-y finish. And because this is lighter, a fairly light color, it's not going to affect that saltwater taffy pink. Really liking the pink. So I heard Tim Holtz say that he won't ever add a yellow to the line, and the purpose of the new colors is to kind of bridge gaps in line. So all my guesses, that's why they've all been wrong as to the next color. But when he does kind of do his live and show the different colors of the inks and the swatches, you can totally see where he was going and how perfect the color is that he came up with. So really, really love this one. Okay, so that just gives it a really soft. Linda, he said something about, I didn't listen super closely. It was just, he showed the yellows in the line, and he felt, I think, that with the blending, you could kind of get all the different ranges of yellow that he would want, so he wouldn't come up with a different yellow. That's what I got from it. If anyone else got something different from it, then let me know. All right, so I've got my card base here, and we'll put that on in a minute. We've got the lemons cut out, and I'm just looking for my glue. There it is. Hello, Colleen, and everybody else who popped in, Marlo. All right, so these are the lemons from that Spellbinders Lemon Twist, and I'm just popping out a couple of the little pieces. So this is from this one here. It really is very pretty. So you get 2 lemons. Here's a look at the dies that come with it. You get the 2 lemons, and then you get the leaf stalk, and then you get 5 leaves that are kind of a layer, and then you get some flowers and some extra stems. And I'm just going to use my ink, and I wanted a little bit of color. You could use yellow, but I kind of thought that the ink, it wasn't going to have a chalky finish. It was going to look more orange because the yellow is going to show through underneath. And I just thought it was a nice addition to the lemons. Okay, then we've got our background, and I cut that out of, this is the Simple Stories paper, like their cardstock. And again, I'm just adding just a little bit, and then you almost get like a brown tinge because it's the pink going over the green. And then we have all these little leaves, and these are just going to layer on. So it's just a really nice effect. When you get a little bit different color that you're layering on. You don't have to, because there's lots of detail in those leaves if you just wanted to layer on just the leaf stalk, but you really do get a lot of dimension. And there are lots of, there's even more Spellbinders die sets that are in the store if you like the Spellbinders style. Okay, so let's figure out where these go. All right, Betty, thanks for stopping in. Do I remember when crochet doilies were a huge thing? Yes. And Tamara, I was saying that I have one that my grandmother made, but I totally remember. Yeah, you should. The crochet cotton, and there's just one for each leaf. And then you get just a little bit of different color. So this was a coordinations. I just went through my stash of cardstock to find some colors that I felt like went well. Yes, Tamara, I think we should bring back the doily trend. There we go. So isn't that cute? Just adding those little details on the leaves. Okay, then let me see here. I think I kind of put it like that. So we're going to add some foam tape. I find when I glue, I have it usually in the basement where it's chilly. And then if I bring it upstairs and the sun is shining and it's warm up here, then it seems to kind of like to escape. All right, so let's add a little bit of foam tape. You still have many and use them. They're beautiful, hey? You defiantly prefer the thicker yarn. I agree. I knew what you meant. Yes, the thicker yarns definitely work up quicker. And you can defiantly crochet as well, I think. All right, so this is going to go on our background first. Well, I probably should have put the lemon onto the end here. So there's actually a little spot that this can kind of tuck into if you wanted it to. It doesn't have to, but if you felt like you wanted to tuck that in, or any of the stems, you could do that. So let's just add a little piece of foam tape while we're doing this one. All right. And let's put that kind of at an angle. If you wanted to shorten it, that's where you could have it shorter. If you wanted to bring it up a little bit, you can kind of position these any way that you want. Then we have three of these. Before we put these on, let's do our letters just to make sure they're fully dry before we put the rest of our little flowers. So we've got the lemon drizzle, and then we'll do the Venetian jade. It's a little bit lighter of a green. And you do want to give these a little shake. And so what I'm doing is just putting this on watercolor paper, just laying down some color, and then I'm just taking my water brush, or you could use a paintbrush, and then I'm just watering it down to make a really nice glittery watercolor background. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the jade color. So I'll blend the jade out first, and then kind of bring them together to get that overlapping color. And then you just want to make sure that you squeeze your brush out or wash it out a little bit. It doesn't take much. And that will clean off your brush. Okay, we'll just set that aside for a minute. We might run the heat tool over it if it looks like it's not completely. Let's bring this down again. If it's not completely dry. We've got our little letters that are cut out of white as well, just because I wanted 2 layers. We could have done 3, but I decided to do 2. And then here are the extra little stems that you can actually cut. And these are really cute, and you just put the little stems right on to these cute little flowers. You could even do a card, without the lemons. You could just use the flowers if you wanted. And there's stems that go a couple different ways, so you can decide which ones you want. And one last one, and then that one is going to be for our lemon. So if you guys weren't part of the crop that happened last weekend, you still have a couple days. You can go and check it out in the Scrap Shotz paper crafting group. And we have some videos in there. So in the albums, there is a crop album in the albums part. And you can see all the challenges, and the challenges are open until Saturday night at midnight Mountain Time, and then we'll draw for some prizes. I'll probably announce those on Monday. So you still have some time if you wanted to get in some projects. You can make any kind of paper crafting project. You can do cards or scrapbook pages or traveler's notebooks. I don't know if this one went all the way through. So yeah, there's such great inspiration as well. If you want to just see what everyone's done, Rosie and I did a video together. That was fun. I think I'm not going to worry about trying to get this through. I'm just going to glue it on. And we each made, so there was a sketch challenge, and we each made something. So I made a card, and Rosie made a layout using the sketch, which was fun. And you can put your projects in the albums under the comments, depending on which challenge you are participating in. So it was just a lot of fun. Everybody did such great projects. All right, so we've got this lemon. I'm going to put it kind of overlapping a little, so I can just cut this off here. And I just put a little bit of glue on this just so I can tuck it under. I don't think that you need to be too worried about, what's happening. Nothing's really going to fly around. And then this one, same thing, we can just cut off where we think it's going to go. I should have put my foam tape on there first. Also, Sandy announced a pop-up shop on April the 2nd. That's a Saturday. So if you're in Calgary, we are going to have it in, I believe, the Scenic Acres Community Center. And we will be there in person, and we will have a little shopping day. So there'll be more details on that to come to let you know exactly what time. But that will be fun. So it'll be nice to see you guys. Maybe we'll even do like some, I don't know, we haven't talked about it yet, but it'd be fun if we did some make and takes or something. All right. And then we are at Carnival in May. So is anybody going to Carnival with Creative Scrapbooker Magazine? We will be there, and we definitely will be doing make and takes there. We'll have demos in the booth. That is always lots of fun. And just so much fun to see everybody. Oh, thanks, Marlo. Yeah, and lots of these techniques. Are you a scrapbooker, Marlo? Lots of these techniques you can use on your scrapbook page as well. Or die cuts. Die cuts, I think, are always fun on scrapbook pages. And you might just come over to the dark side, because I think a lot of us started out as scrapbookers. And then we had all these fun things, so we decided we may as well make cards with them too. All right, so then we've got, this is pretty much dry now. Oh, we may as well glue on our little flowers while we have our glue open. These little flowers are so cute. I'm going to show you how I made them. Okay, so let's grab our die here for hello. And all I did was place the letters on so that they were kind of halfway in between. I didn't worry about too much if they were exact. And I'm just going to grab some washi tape that I had used. And I'm just going to add a little bit of washi just so they stay pretty much in place. And we'll have to do the L twice. You could cut these out of colored cardstock, but I just thought it was going to be kind of neat having it, the different colors that went with the lemon and the leaves, and being a little bit glittery. So we'll run that through first. Did anybody end up getting the new Sizzix switch? It looks very fun. Okay, so don't these look neat? I think they just look so pretty, and because the letters are watercolored out, then you just have that soft glittery background. We'll do the L. Okay. All right, so we've got all of our letters. I really need to go through my dies and kind of organize them. That's next on my to-do list, do some organizing. Alrighty, I have some tweezers. Those are helpful. I could zoom in a little bit. You try to adapt to pages but miss the first part. Okay. The replay will be up after I'm done. And Victoria, you started scrapping, but you gave up It definitely is faster. I still love scrapbooking. But yes, card making is kind of that instant. Well, it's not instant sometimes, but definitely a faster process. And Marla, we inked the embossing folder. I don't know if you saw that one. Inked the embossing folder. You could totally use this for titles if you're doing a scrapbook page and you want to do your letters. And I just cut 2 because I wanted a little bit extra dimension. And the liquid glue is kind of letting me move it around, have a few minutes just to get it in the right spot. But yes, I still do really like scrapbooking. I do need to print off a bunch of pictures, so that's definitely my goal. I do have the Canon selfie, so I'll print something off if I'm doing a particular page. But I have a lot of pictures that I really just want to get printed, put them in some pockets or something, and then I can scrapbook what I want. I don't scrapbook chronologically, but I will put it in my album chronologically. And I won't do everything. Just kind of, if I'm doing something that inspires me. There we go. All right, so we've got our little letters. And now we can place them on. It's probably easier to put them on and just make sure you're all lined up. You just organize your stencils and now you use them? Yes, definitely. It definitely helps if you organize your supplies. Hi, Katie. Oh, a birthday trip. That's very nice. Is it your birthday? Or was it your birthday? All right, when you have it in the spot that you want, then you can just lift things up. Or you can use those sticky dots if you have those, or the sticky specks. You could press those on, or Xyron. Oh, happy birthday. That's awesome. And what did you get? Did you end up getting anything that was fun for yourself, or was it mainly the trip that was the birthday experience? Birthdays are always fun, and it's fun to treat yourself. All right, I think that's even. I had to stand up to make sure. Hello, Christy. No worries. All right, so we've got that, and we'll put it on our card base. So we just used the Doily embossing folder from Sizzix, and then we used the Lemon Zest Spellbinders die cuts, and we used the new saltwater taffy oxide, brayering it on. And normally I put this on sooner, but I didn't, so that's okay. Really loving this saltwater taffy. I think that's going to be one of my favorite colors. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Katie. Oh, you're going to a spa. Very nice. Well, I hope you have such a wonderful time. Thanks, Margaret Erica. All right, and the only thing we have left is our little gems. So these Spellbinders gems. These ones are the Aura. But again, there's lots of different colors. I don't know why this piece of washi tape is on here. I think my kids put it on one time and I just never took it off. All right, I find to get the gems off, it's much easier just to use a craft knife to just lift them off. And then they slide off and they slide onto your project. And they seem to have nice adhesive. It doesn't seem to come off. So that's a look at our card. Oh, I wanted to show you before I end. I'm just going to show you. There's the glittery hello. Thank you. So for the little flowers, they're white cardstock, but I wanted them to have a little shimmer. And this is in the shop, and it's the Airless Mister. It's pearlescent, and you just shake it up. And then if you just take some white cardstock, we're not going to cut these out, I just wanted to show you. There's a few different colors of this, and then you just give it a spray and let it dry, and just make sure that you wipe off your nozzle. Then it's hard to see it right here, but when it dries, it has a really beautiful shimmery. I don't know if I did have a piece that I'd done, but I have no idea where I put it. So yeah, anyway, that's what I cut the flowers out of. So yeah, thank you very, very much. Yes, then you don't have to pick them off your fingers, and I find that they go flying. If I try to grab them with tweezers, they seem to fly. So yeah, thank you guys for stopping in. Happy birthday to Katie. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. Make sure to check out the challenges that are in the Scrap Shotz paper crafting group. And if you want to enter any, you have till midnight Mountain on Saturday to get your projects in. And we're going to be drawing some winners, and mark April 2nd on your calendar so that you can join us if you're in Calgary in the pop-up shop. Thank you guys so much. And thanks for stopping in. It's so nice that you guys pop in, and I feel like I'm hanging out with some friends. Yeah, the little polka dots are really cute, hey? All right, guys, have a lovely day. I will talk to you later. Bye.